All right, welcome to another video from the chart reader. So I have a little bit of a busy day today, so I am making my video a little early. We are still in live trading hours, so you might see some percentages go up and down. There's only an hour left, so I think it's a good enough time to make the video, hoping candles don't make like wild shifts between now and the next hour, right? What are we going to do today? We are going to do FAANG plus Blue Chip. And the last time I made this video, I kind of said it, right? You can use this video to really gauge how the major markets work, because you better believe the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones has a number, if not almost every single one of these within their indices, right? So, hey, even if you don't have a single dollar in these, it's really important to know how these are going, right? Because if these are bad, these are big name tickers. If these are bad, the little ones that we love to make money on and get those like nasty little up percentages on, those will do horrible, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. That said, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly. We will use our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Again, 80% of the work is up here. This is the last 20 if we need either confirmation or maybe there's like a tie between one or two. We'll kind of use these as that like little equalizer, right? That cherry on top, like I like to call it. So starting with the first, it used to be F, now it's obviously M, right? But Meta. What's happened, right? There was a nasty gap down. I'm going to draw a line right here because that's the peak of the gap. And then, I mean, you see it, right? Once it pops, it didn't do as much as I wanted, really, right? It did a good pop, went horizontal, another little good pop, and then just kind of stayed horizontal, right? So I'm a big fan of it really just happening like that, right? I would have loved it for just to go up to there, but hey, there was definitely a good amount of money to be made right here, right? All that said, where are we now, right? We are now in a cluster of 3 moving averages. You hear me say that all the time, right? Anything can happen, and it tries to break it, definitely holds on, tries to break it. And now, I mean, look, I mean, we're still 1 hour of moving, right? But the 20 is at 115 and 10. We're sitting at 115 and 7. So we are, and you can see it, technically under the 20. We do not want that, right? You lose 3 in a single day, I'm going to expect a big confirmation. And that might really be this line right here. I can easily see a hard gap down to basically 110. So I'm going to draw that new line right there. Look, this is obviously pretty horizontal. This is pretty horizontal. This has had a good little uptrend as horizontal as it is. But last thing I'm just going to comment, look, the volume, you want to be above the average, right? 50 days ago, we were trading up here near 50 million. We couldn't, we're in the 30s. And hey, obviously that's really good volume, right? We're looking at stuff and other tickers that are like 100,000 total, right? So still a lot of volume, but the fact that we're under the average literally almost every day since here, not a good thing, right? For about a month, literally a month from the 15th till today. So the 6th, what day is this? The 16th. Yeah, from the 16th till today, and we'll probably guess tomorrow too. It's been about a month under average volume. That's not a good thing, right? So not looking good in Meta. I will say this though, right? Anything can happen in a cluster. It could very easily make another bounce up here, right? And I'm always a fan of saying don't put your money in a cluster. Wait for the either monster up and hey, make a move, or wait for the monster down and just sit back and watch, right? So to each their own, just remember that. Again, look, it's been really bad under the 8. There was some nice movements of being over the 8, but not quite the confirmations we wanted, right? Simply put. So you want good weeklies for good dailies, and you have to be patient. It takes a lot longer for the weekly chart to form, right? So many days, so many candles, things move a lot. This is 5 times slower than the daily, right? So just, keep all that in mind. But yeah, Meta, not looking good. Apple, AAPL, oh man, this one's already falling out of the cluster, right? So let me zoom back just a little bit. I don't remember the last time I made this video in all honesty, but we basically make an attempt up to break the 100. Really, all we actually do is save ourselves from falling out of this cluster because this thing's been horizontal for a bit, pretty much from this view right here. Tries to go to the top, Definitely looks like it's going to fall out, was able to at least fall back in, but now it clearly is falling out. We're under all 5 moving averages right now. This is an ugly day. This is and look, you lose, not 2, it's actually only 1. So you lose 1 here, you lose 2 lines here. Next day, big confirmation that this thing was real, right? And it's basically what I just said on the last one, right? If it's going to lose 3, right, I'm just going to show it real quick. If it's going to lose 3 in one day, hell, even if it's going to lose 2 in one day, I'm expecting that confirmation, and that's why I said 110. That's pretty much what we just saw right here. We lose 2 and then a hard gap down. Do I have any lines down? Yeah, 133 I think is still going to be a good line. I don't think we need to make any new lines here. But yeah, Apple not looking good at all. Again, horizontal looks like it's falling out of the horizontal. You've seen how bad it gets on the dailies. That's the last thing you want to see on the weekly, because that's literally, like I said, it's 5 times slower than this, and there have been some pretty nasty ones that we've seen. So hey, be careful here. And look, 2 out of the 5 FAANGs are not looking good. Today was a real ugly day on the major markets, so be careful, right? Just be careful. Amazon, again, where are we? Look, we've seen this on a bunch of other stocks. It's happened already. We fell out of the cluster. One of the things we hate to see is when the 20 and the 8 just kind of keep falling down together, because from there it's so hard to get over the 8. Then you got to do the 20. Oh my gosh, right? And all we're seeing is just attempts and fails of the 20 and the 8, right? There was 3. This one actually never got over it. This one, hey, got over it one day, but not great confirmation. This one never really got over it. Opened up here. It opened with a hard gap, but hey, I don't care about single gap ups, or I care about the candle. I care about the confirmation, right? And I care about the consistency, and that's what we're seeing here, right? So Amazon, it's funny too, right? Meta still in the cluster. Apple starting to fall out of the cluster. Amazon has now been out of the cluster, right? So you can kind of see, and again, we're now on 3 of the 5 FAANGs. Very, very bad. This is just an ugly weekly, right? So there should be no surprises here, right? And again, I'm not here to root for things to be bad, but I'm under every single moving average. We haven't been anywhere near above the 8 since middle of October, right? I mean, end of October, fine. We'll call it the 20th at the end instead of the middle, but come on, right? So I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money, but I'm going to repeat a bunch of stuff over and over, and hopefully you use this non-financial advice to help your financials. I'm zooming out because, again, Meta, I almost called this one Meta. Wow, Netflix, there we go. We've been just playing this gap, right? We've been playing the gap. We draw the line right here. It just couldn't get over, and then it does get over, right? The one thing, and it did it just since the last video, it kept doing it. It was way more of a parabolic gap fill than I'm more comfortable with. I'm telling you, a good gap fill is literally dun 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 dun, dun, right? Especially, and again, sorry to zoom out so much, one that's just this devastating and this long ago, right? So I really would have expected the dun 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 dun, dun versus the dun, right? So hopefully you like those sounds, but this is bad, right? This is real bad. If it loses this line, it's also on the 50. There's a lot of reason to believe we're coming down to 260, if not 245, right? So Netflix not looking good. And hey, sorry to keep zooming out like that. As slow and sluggish as it was to fill the gap, the drop could be a lot quicker and a lot more devastating, especially because, again, this is now the 4th out of the 5th FAANG stock, right? And I've only got a couple other blue chips behind it, so we're kind of almost halfway with this video. Not a single moment of positivity, right? And look, real ugly MACD, real ugly RSI. Yeah, we're above volume average, but it's a lot of selling, right? So last 4 days, only 1 day's been buying, and all of those have been under, right? I mean, it's tough. Netflix, be careful here. And like I said, it took a longer time to fill up than we wanted. It could definitely drop much quicker, and it'll be real scary, right? So technically we have a day left on the weekly, right? But we're now under the 8. I talked about that 280 line on the daily, right? And again, it kind of lines up to saying it'll either go to 260, literally on the dot. Look at that. or the 245. So the daily and the weekly actually look pretty similar in terms of where their supports are, right? So that's the same support. That's pretty much a cluster around the 260 number, and then I just said the 245. Be careful on Netflix. Again, what does this one look like? This one looks like Apple, if I'm not mistaken, right? Definitely not in the horizontal cluster anymore. Definitely almost fell out once. Definitely doing it again. I'm already starting to see the 8 getting ready to move down. And last thing we're going to want to see is the 20 come down with it, right? So not too much to talk about. Not a good MACD at all, actually. The green's been under for a while. Looks like it's getting ready to go steeper. This has definitely been in a downtrend too. And again, just so much selling, right? 3 days over the last however many that's been. So real bad on GOOG actually, and horrible. We talked about this on Tesla last week. We'll talk about it on Google here, right? On the weekly, I'm expecting to bounce off the 200 up. Otherwise, it's gonna plummet, right? And I gotta zoom out now because we gotta make some lines down here, right? Let's see what some stuff looks like. Yeah, 81 looks realistic. I'll pick that doji right here. Let me use this bad boy. You don't want to lose that. 72, I'm going to just stop right there. But that big cluster up there, I could probably delete some lines on the next video, I'll be honest. But there's a lot of reason to believe this is coming down pretty hard. I'll make one right there just for the immediate. But literally, you saw it on the weekly. There were numbers in the 70s, right? So, yeah, be careful here. Literally, every single FAANG stock has been ugly. All right. Hey, I actually gave a really good uptrend notice on Boeing the last time we talked about this. I really wish I played this. I didn't, and I sincerely regret it. You can see it here, right? But this is the power of breaking the 200, right? It's a beautiful thing, especially when the 8 come. And look, it's the opposite of all those other ones, right? When the 8 and the 20 come up together, it's a beautiful thing because you lose the 8 a little bit, but then, hey, the 20's right here. Again, the 20's right here to help you, right? So Boeing, I remember being bullish on it when it broke the 200. I sincerely regret not putting any money in this because there was definitely way more than a 10% movement here on pretty easy trading, actually. You literally could have made a move from just right here to right here, gotten out, and been pretty happy with yourself, right? So, yeah, I regret not doing this, but love it. And look, again, beautiful weekly, right? That's what you want to see. So Boeing actually still, okay, so no, I won't say still looks okay. Definitely a little worried here, but I'll say at the minimum, it can't go lower than 178, right? We want to bounce off the 20 one more time. Otherwise, we're coming down to 160, right? But again, beautiful little uptrend. And hey, even if it comes down to 160, if you bank right here, you should be able to have made a nice little profit right here. But yeah, Boeing, I was bullish on this one. I actually sincerely regret not doing anything with that on my money. Disney looking ugly, right? I mean, not too much to say here. A bit of a horizontal right here, right? And then now it looks like we're coming down. So real ugly MACD, real ugly RSI, real bad just volume, right? I mean, Disney not looking good at all. I know they brought the new CEO. Again, I'm not here to talk about news, right? I'm here to talk about lines and all that sort of noise. But Disney, I got to back you up a bit to make my next line. You don't want to be there. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to do one down here. And then I'm curious. I want to see what 50% looks like. I think that's about roughly 50%. I should lower it just a little bit. I think that's about it. So yeah, we're pretty much sitting on 50%. If we lose 50%, we're going there. And then where's the next? Ooh, man. We're coming back to like 2014 days. That is not good. So definitely do not want to lose 84. I mean, that's definitely a line right there. And then I see another line in between right there. Okay, cool. Look, there's a lot of reason to believe if you lose 84 on Disney, you're coming almost to 66, if not 75. So be careful on Disney. Really, Boeing is the only standout, and I think that was the case on the last video. Walmart, I remember saying I wish I started looking at Walmart earlier. This is actually almost what Boeing's been doing, right? I'm going to just flash Boeing real quick. Boeing made an up, made a horizontal. Hey, if it follows Walmart, it might have one more up in it, right? But this basically went up, horizontal, down, right? And look, once you lose the 8, once you lose the 20, you got to believe you're coming to the 50, right? And look, it's the same thing when we talk about the ups and the downs, right? But it's beautiful when you're above them all. Once you lose this could have been a very good exit point, right? We talk about in over the 8, out under the 8, right? You could have for sure used this as an exit point because now you've lost the 20 really for the first time in a good while. And all of these days I've pretty much been trading under the 8. You know we don't like our money under the 8, right? But Walmart, I wish I started following Walmart sooner. One more time, Boeing, it's either going to do the same thing or it's either going to have one more leg up like Walmart did or it's just going to come down with it, right? So good reason to watch Walmart and Boeing together. Let me look at the weekly just real quick. That's a bad weekly, right? We definitely made a good up, definitely a bad candle, and then not a great one. This is kind of a doji. I would call this a doji, but that does lead me to believe we might be coming down to this like 140, 130 something cluster right here, right, as that confirmation. So 140 does seem a little realistic, and yeah, 142 for Walmart. So again, really, Boeing has been the only one, but the fact that Microsoft is the next one, but the fact that Walmart wasn't fantastic might be worrisome. Microsoft, what is it doing? I hope you already see it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines out of all 5, starting to get tighter and tighter. It's definitely back, because look, it was on the lower side. It was on the lower side, makes an attempt to the upper half, now coming back down to the lower half, right? I'm here to believe that this is coming down to 240, right? So, yeah, I'll probably make another line right there. Let's do that. But again, 240 is going to be the next point that really matters because I do not want to fall out of the cluster, right? That'll put me under them all. What I want to do is go above it, right? But look, we never broke the 200 there. At least there was a small one right here, right? But you can almost say this was the first real losing point because it kind of went horizontal on the 200. So since we like really officially lost it, we never cracked it. We came close. But and again, we came close, but that 200 is definitely a pesky little line here. So look, we went through 5 FAANG stocks, 4 blue chips, and only one thing was remotely positive, right? And really, it was more positive from the last video and just kind of like trying to hold on, right? So there's a lot of reason to believe that today's ugly day in the market isn't an anomaly, right? So be careful across all of 3. Again, there's about 45 minutes left in trading, so unless anything silly happens, these should be good readings. So hey, I hope you're learning. Have a great one.